Let's get the perspective of one of the key participants here in the United States, and I'm joined by Ambassador Robert Ford, who is still the ambassador to Syria but hasn't been in Syria for a long time. Your view first on the situation on the ground. How bad is it now?
Well, we've had details today about how difficult the humanitarian situation is, with the United Nations in the meeting saying that we could have 1 million Syrian refugees in the region by June. And as well, we know that the number of people who've lost their homes or have had to flee their homes because of the violence now is in the neighborhood of 2 million and also rising. So it really is a crisis.
And what's your view on how this is going today to raise $1.5 billion? But before, Ban Ki-moon had said last year it was woefully underfunded. How's it going?
Well, there is a huge need, as we just discussed, and the Emir of Kuwait announced $300 million. The Emiratis have also announced $300 million. The United States, as President Obama announced a couple of days ago, is going to increase its assistance by $155 million, which will bring the total American contribution now to humanitarian needs in Syria, $365 million. And there are pledges still continuing even as we speak, James. So there is a response. The key thing is, can these resources be mobilized quickly? We, the Americans, are mobilizing as quickly as we can now, both in terms of expanding our assistance to implementers inside Syria, working with the United Nations, the Red Cross and others, and then also to get aid into Syria in areas where the UN hasn't been able to reach.
Now, some of this money that the UN gets goes through the Syrian government. Does that make you uncomfortable?
Well, there have been a lot of concerns about that expressed among the Syrian opposition. I was in Paris a couple of days ago, and we talked to them about that there. What I would like to underline is we think, and I think the countries represented here today, think that the United Nations plays an absolutely vital role in terms of reaching people in parts of Syria. But it's not enough. There have to be operations to get aid into Syria from the neighboring states, and as well better access for the United Nations and its partners inside Syria. The Syrian government must stop blocking that access inside Syria.
But to solve the humanitarian problem, you've got to stop the killing. You heard what Ambassador Brahimi, the special envoy, said. He said the UN Security Council has got to stop this deadlock. You've got to stop disagreeing. You've got to come up with something.
Well, I think our position is well known, that we would like the United Nations to exert more pressure on the Syrian government to stop the violence. The United States would like the Security Council to exert more pressure on the Syrian government to stop blocking access for humanitarian assistance such as provided by the United Nations. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to overcome the vetoes of certain countries. We will absolutely continue to talk to those countries and try to convince them of the importance of the international community moving forward, both on the humanitarian side to address the crisis, but also to push for the political solution, which I think everyone understands is the best way forward.
Ambassador Ford, thank you very much for joining us on Al Jazeera.